Her lips tasted like red wine and trouble. The room was dim, shadows sliding across the hotel wallpaper like silent voyeurs. Her back was against the door, blouse halfway undone, chest rising fast. I could feel her breath on my neck as her fingers tugged at my belt, desperate, trembling, hungry. She hadn't even taken off her wedding ring. It gleamed under the soft gold light. That little circle of loyalty. It should have stopped me. It should have stopped her. But instead, it made everything worse. More dangerous. More forbidden. More real. "I shouldn't be here," she whispered, but her hand said something else entirely. I pressed my lips to hers, hard, losing myself in the way she moaned into my mouth. Every inch of her was fire, and I was willing to get burned. But wait, before we go deeper into this night, before I tell you just how far we went, you need to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with someone who thinks they understand temptation. Because what you're about to hear isn't just about lust. It's about crossing a line that can never be uncrossed. Now, let me take you back to how it all began. It started, like most bad decisions do, on an ordinary Tuesday. I was at the Grindhouse Cafe in Midtown. A little hole-in-the-wall coffee joint with uneven brick walls, playlists full of The Weeknd and sod, and baristas who thought they were therapists. It was the kind of place where time slows down, where the espresso's always too strong, and everyone pretends to be working on a screenplay. She walked in like she owned the air. Tall. Curves that didn't apologize. Deep brown skin like velvet, long legs and fitted jeans, and red lipstick that could stop a city. She wasn't loud. She didn't have to be. Every head turned just a little. But she looked right through them all, and then her eyes landed on me. I swear she looked amused. She stood behind me in line, smelling like vanilla and ambition. I glanced back once, just once, and she smiled like she knew something I didn't. "You come here often?" she asked, her voice low and playful. "Only when I want bad coffee and good people watching," she chuckled. "So which one am I?" I smiled. "Ask me after I see what you order." She got a black Americano. No sugar. No cream. She sipped it like it was wine. "Still want to guess?" she said. "I'll say trouble. The expensive kind." She laughed again, softer this time. "You're not wrong." We talked for maybe 5 minutes. 10 tops. She asked what I did. I told her. Freelance designer, mostly websites. She told me she was a realtor. High-end homes, cash clients only. We didn't talk about love. We didn't talk about marriage. We just flirted like it meant nothing. As she was leaving, she slipped something on my table. A business card. Her name, Sasha, printed in gold. And on the back, a handwritten note, just in case. No smiley face. No number. Just those 3 words. Just in case. She slid into the seat across from me like we'd done this 1,000 times. No hello. No explanation. "Why didn't you call me?" I tilted my coffee toward her. "Figured if it mattered, you'd reach out." She raised one brow, amused. "That confidence gonna get you in trouble." "It already has." We talked. About nothing. About everything. About traffic on the 285, bad dating stories, overpriced sushi, and how both of us hated couples who posted happy pictures on Instagram every damn day. But behind her words was something heavier. Something she didn't say out loud. "Married?" I asked just to say it. Just to kill the elephant in the room. She didn't flinch. 3 years. Realtor's dream. Big house. Mercedes in the garage. Picture perfect. And? She leaned forward. "He's a good man. Provides. Protects. But we haven't touched each other in 6 months. That should have been my cue to leave. Instead, I nodded. Sounds lonely. Her eyes held mine. You don't know the half of it. We left the cafe an hour later. Walked side by side to the parking lot. It started to drizzle, just enough to pull up our hoods. She stopped beside her car and turned to me. I don't do this, she said. I haven't done anything yet. She looked at me like I was the only man she'd seen in weeks. And then she kissed me. Soft at first. Curious. Then hungry. Wet. Deep. Her hand slid into my jacket. My fingers tangled in her hair. Her ring clinked against my zipper. I felt it, but I didn't stop. The rain was falling harder. A car drove past and honked. We pulled away, breathless. I have to go, she whispered, eyes wide. I stepped back. Let her leave. Watched her drive off, brake lights fading into the mist. That night, she texted me. Sasha, you were right. You are trouble. Me, you gonna stay away then? Sasha, not a chance. She invited me to her house the next week. Said her husband was flying to Miami for a business trip. Said she just wanted to talk. I should have said no. But some part of me, maybe the same part that wanted to taste that lipstick again, texted back. Me, send the address. And that's when everything really began. Her neighborhood was too perfect. Wide, clean streets. Identical driveways. Lawns cut with ruler precision. The kind of place where neighbors wave politely and whisper behind closed doors. As I parked outside her house, a modern two-story with too many windows, I had one clear thought. I didn't belong here. She met me at the door in black silk. Not lingerie. Not a robe. A dress that clung to her like it had been poured onto her skin. Her feet were bare. Her hair loose. She smelled like flowers and something darker, jasmine and secrets. Come in, she said, stepping back. I crossed the threshold like I was walking into a church I didn't believe in. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Marble floors. White furniture. Soft jazz playing from hidden speakers. Her wedding photos stared at me from the mantel. Him in a tailored tux. Her in a strapless gown, smiling like forever actually meant something. Want a drink? She asked. I nodded. Whiskey. Neat. She handed me the glass like she'd been expecting that answer. We sat in silence at first. I on her cream sofa, she perched on the armrest, legs crossed, glass of red in hand. I almost canceled, she said. Why didn't you? She took a sip, then looked me dead in the eye. Because I wanted to remember what it felt like to be wanted. Desperately. I stood and walked to her slowly, letting her feel every second. I don't just want you, I said. I need you. She swallowed hard, then pulled me down to her. The kiss this time wasn't soft. It was war. Tongues and teeth, fingers digging into skin, her legs wrapping around my waist as I picked her up and carried her upstairs, her wine glass crashing behind us. We didn't speak as I stripped her in the hallway, as we stumbled into the bedroom, as the bed creaked beneath us like it was protesting what we were about to do. It was wild. It was desperate. And God, it was wrong. She didn't take off her ring. I saw it flash again and again as her hands moved across my chest, down my sides, into my hair. She didn't hide it. She wore it like a dare. Afterward, we lay tangled together, sheets kicked off the bed, the room smelling like sweat and sin. I've never done that here, she whispered. What do you mean? In our bed. I turned to face her. Is that supposed to make me feel special? She smiled faintly. No. Just honest. There was silence again, but not empty. Heavy. Full of questions neither of us wanted to answer. You gonna stay? She asked. You want me to? She turned to the ceiling. Tonight? Yes. Tomorrow? I don't know. I stayed. And somewhere around 3 a.m., with her breathing steady against my chest, I realized something terrifying. I didn't just want her body anymore. We were 20 miles outside the city when she first said the words out loud. If anyone asks, you're my cousin. I nearly choked on my drink. Your cousin? She kept her eyes on the road, one hand on the wheel, the other tapping her thigh in rhythm with the music. It's what I told the Airbnb host. Keeps things simple. Simple, I repeated, glancing at her wedding ring. Still on, still shining, still mocking me. She smirked. You think this is about morality? No. This is about control. If we're gonna do this, we do it clean. No names. No pictures. No slips. You've done this before. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. The cabin was tucked into the Georgia woods. One of those sleek modern getaways with a glass front, hot tub, and zero-cell reception. Remote. Quiet. Perfect for people who want to disappear for a weekend. We unpacked fast. No small talk. No questions. Just 2 bags. 1 lie. It didn't take long for things to heat up. I was in the kitchen pouring wine when she slid up behind me, her hands finding their way under my shirt. Her lips brushed my neck, soft, electric. Bedroom's upstairs, she whispered. I turned and kissed her like I hadn't had her just days ago. We barely made it up the steps. Half undressed, knocking into walls, her laughter filling the hallway like a fire alarm. The cabin had thick walls. Good thing, because when she came that night, fingers clawing at the sheets, eyes locked on mine, she screamed like the trees outside were watching. After, we lay in silence. Not sleep. Just stillness. The kind that comes after indulgence. Her head on my chest. My arm around her waist. Then she spoke. I think he knows. I sat up. What? My husband. He's been watching me lately. Asking questions he never asked before. I swallowed the lump in my throat. So this was a goodbye trip? She laughed, bitter. No. This is an escape. A pause. I needed to breathe without lying about where I was. Without pretending I don't miss being touched. I said nothing. What could I say? I was the lie she was hiding. The fire she kept playing with. That night, as she slept, I stared at the ceiling fan spinning above us and wondered what it would feel like to have her completely. No ring. No secrets. Just her. The next morning, it happened. The knock. 3 hard raps on the front door. Not frantic. Not casual. Controlled. We froze. She looked at me, eyes wide. Stay here. I grabbed my pants, heart pounding. Peered through the upstairs loft window just enough to catch a glimpse. A man. Late 40s. White shirt. Clean cut. Not a cop. But definitely not Airbnb staff. She opened the door halfway. Can I help you? I couldn't hear his response, but I saw her posture change. Stiff. Defensive. Then she laughed too loud. Oh. No, that's my cousin. He's upstairs. Yeah, he came down from Nashville. Family weekend. It's awkward. A pause. She laughed again. No worries, we'll keep it quiet. She closed the door fast, locked it, and came upstairs, visibly shaking. Who was that? I asked. Local security. Neighbor complained about the car. Said it looked suspicious. I didn't like the way she said that. Do we need to leave? She hesitated, then nodded. Tonight? We packed before the sun went down. No music. No wine. No sex. Just the sound of zippers and tension. We left before midnight. Back on the highway, she drove in silence. I stared at her hands on the wheel. The ring still on. She caught me looking, slipped the ring off, and tossed it into the glove compartment. It's easier this way. What is? Pretending I'm yours. We didn't talk the rest of the ride, but when we got back to the city, she didn't drop me off at my place. She pulled into a dark lot behind an old warehouse, turned off the engine, and looked at me. Next time, we're not pretending. She kissed me hard. Then she got back in the car and drove away. It had been 6 weeks since the cabin getaway. She was quieter now, cautious. Every time I called, she checked the background noise before she answered. Every time we met, it was farther out of town, sometimes in another city altogether. She never wore the ring anymore. I asked her once if she had officially ended it. With him? She said, not looking at me. No, not yet. Not yet. Those 2 words stuck in my head like gum on a shoe. I couldn't shake them, and I didn't know if I wanted to. We were sitting in a parked car at a strip mall just outside Charleston. She was wearing black, tight dress, sunglasses, hair up. She looked like trouble disguised as elegance. I had just kissed her, and she was still catching her breath when she dropped the bomb. He found the texts. I sat back. What did you say? I told him it was spam. A wrong number. A scam. And he believed that? She pulled a cigarette from her purse. He wants to. We smoked in silence, the air between us heavy. My fingers twitched to grab her hand, but I didn't. She was already slipping. He's not stupid, she said finally. He just doesn't want to admit what he already knows. That night, back at her rented apartment, a second space she kept 4 meetings, she said, things came to a boiling point. I showed up with wine. She showed up with tears. I can't keep doing this, she said. With me. No. This life. This lying. I reached for her, but she stepped back. He's been good to me, she continued. He built everything. The house, the career path, the image. I owe him. You don't owe anyone your soul. But what if I gave it to him already? I stood there, watching her unravel. The woman who once climbed on top of me like she owned the world now looked like a girl lost in her own shadow. Tell him, I said. Tell him the truth, or I walk. The words hung there, like a loaded gun on the table. She didn't answer. I left that night without touching her. First time I ever walked away from her body without taking it. 2 days passed. Then she called. I told him. I froze. What? I told him everything. About us. About me. The lies. I didn't know what to say. Part of me felt joy. The other part knew what came next. And? He cried. Then he screamed. Then he left. And now? Now, she said, I'm free. I met her that night in a cheap motel on the edge of the city. She wore no makeup, no heels, no lies. When she walked in, she looked at me like I was the only man who had ever seen her naked, not her body, but her. We didn't rush. We didn't burn. We made love. Slow. True. And for the first time since this whole thing started, I felt like maybe we could be more than just a mistake. Until the knock came. Again. Same pattern. 3 raps. Measured. Controlled. She froze. No, she whispered. He wouldn't. I grabbed my jeans, crossed to the door, looked through the peephole. Not her husband. But close. Her sister. It had been 6 weeks. 6 weeks since the cabin. Since the kiss in the dark parking lot. Since she slipped her wedding ring into my hand like a promise she hadn't figured out how to keep. And I hadn't seen her since. Not once. Not a single call. Not a message. Not even a whisper in the wind. But then, she showed up. Unannounced. Unapologetic. Unraveled. I opened the door, and there she was, standing in the hall of my building, soaked from the rain, mascara running like she'd been crying, or maybe just running through something bigger than either of us. She didn't say hello. She just stepped inside, threw her arms around me, and held on like I was air. "He knows," she whispered. I pulled back just enough to see her eyes. "I told him. All of it." I swallowed. Hard. "And?" he cried, and then he screamed, and then he left. "And now?" She stepped back, slowly removed her coat. "Now I'm free." We didn't speak much after that. We just collapsed into each other. Clothes came off in silence. Hands moved slow, like we were rediscovering skin we already knew by heart. Every kiss tasted like relief and fear at the same time. She laid back, bare against my sheets, and whispered, "I need to feel wanted, not owned." And I gave her everything. That night, we didn't rush. We didn't just have sex, we made something else. Something raw. Something broken. Something beautiful. She cried when she came. And when I did, I buried myself so deep inside her, I didn't know where she ended and I began. But peace is a fragile thing. And the past doesn't let go just because you're brave enough to walk away. The next morning, she was cooking eggs in my shirt. Smiling. Soft. Real. That's when the knock came. 3 slow, deliberate raps. I froze. She froze. The pan hissed. She turned to me, whispering, "No, he wouldn't." I went to the door. Looked through the peephole. Not him. But something close. Her sister. She pushed past me into the apartment like a storm that knew its way around. "You think she's free now?" she hissed. My heart dropped. "She didn't tell you?" the sister snapped. "He tried to kill himself. Bottle of pills. They found him on the floor last night." Sasha stood in the doorway of my bedroom, wrapped in my sheet, frozen in place. "He didn't die," her sister continued. "But maybe he should have. You didn't just break him, you destroyed him." She looked from Sasha to me. "You two don't deserve each other. You deserve to be alone." Then she left. No slamming. Just silence. The kind that makes you feel naked in a room full of ghosts. She didn't cry. She just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. "I didn't mean to hurt him," she whispered. I sat beside her. "I know." But what I didn't say was that it didn't matter anymore. Because someone had to pay. And we both knew who it was going to be. We tried to stay together. We really did. We had dinners. We tea. We touched soft. We slept like we weren't haunted. But something was broken now. Something that sex and silence couldn't fix. She smiled less. Laughed never. And every time she closed her eyes, I could see it. She wasn't with me. She was with guilt. Then one day, I came home. And she was gone. No note. No suitcase. No goodbye. Just one thing. Her wedding ring. Left on my pillow. Still cold. And that was the end. Of us. Of her. Of the version of me that believed love could survive anything. Now, I sit with the memory of her. Red lips. Lying eyes. Hands that held me like I was the only man in the world, while wearing a ring that promised her to another. Because her wedding ring didn't stop me. But maybe it should have. Black heart, if this story hit you somewhere deep, if it reminded you of the weight love can carry. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. And share it with someone who's danced in the dark with temptation. Because some stories you tell to warn people. Others, You tell because it's the only way to let go. This was mine. Now it's yours.